day in October 1987, a dozen anxious folks assembled at the Matadors Credit Union in Northridge and climbed the stairs to the first classroom of what became known as the SAGE Society. SAGE is an acronym for Study, Activity, Growth, and Enrichment. Since its inception, SAGE has had 3 homes in the San Fernando Valley. The organization stayed at the credit union for 3 years, but the members decided that the climb up the stairs was daunting for many seniors. The organization relocated to the First Presbyterian Church of Granada Hills, where they held classes in 2 small classrooms on the ground floor. That location was SAGE's home for 7 years, until the church announced it needed the space to expand its educational program. Fortunately, St. Andrew and St. Charles Episcopal Church in Granada Hills welcomed the group and offered 2 large classrooms. Since 1998, SAGE has enjoyed an amicable relationship with the church.
SAGE actually began because there was an accident on the 405 freeway on my way to UCLA one afternoon in June 1986. We had this accident and I'm sitting on the freeway chastising myself. What are you doing on the freeway in a traffic accident? You're retired, you shouldn't be on the freeway. Then the more I talked to myself, the more it dawned on me. You're living right down the street, 3 blocks from the Cal State University. Why don't you start up your own organization at Cal State, just like you do at Plato?
Maury Cutler tells the role the late Art Frumkin played in forming SAGE.
First, I had to organize a committee, so I called Art Frumkin and I said, would you like to be a member of my committee to organize a learning and retirement group? And Art said, of course. So we wrote a letter and we sent it to Dr. Cleary, then president of the Cal State University. That was in October. In November, I hadn't heard from him, so I called his office, and the secretary said, yes, he has it on his desk. And she said she had worked at UCLA, so she knew all about Plato. I didn't hear from the President Cleary, and beginning January 1st, I started to call every Monday morning. So every Monday morning, I would call up and say, Dr. Cleary made a decision about starting up this learning and retirement program. No, not yet. And then in the second week of February 1987, I called and she said, yes, he has it on his desk. He just gave it to the vice president who took it and he's walking out the door. You should be hearing soon. And 10 minutes later, I got a call from Sonia Marchand, who was the head then of the business division of extension at Cal State Northridge. And she said, I just got your letter and I think it's a great idea. When can we get together? So I said, how about tomorrow? She said, okay, come for lunch at the university and we'll talk about it. So I called up Art and he came and we had lunch with Sonia Marchand, and it was a very pleasant meeting. We told her our plans and she told us what the university could do for us and with us. And that was the beginning of it. Actually, I knew we were in. Art told her one of his jokes and she laughed uproariously. And I said, we're in. Art sold us.
The CSUN response changed dramatically when Sonia Marchand took up Maury's cause and promoted the senior organization to the administration. Her support helped to launch SAGE. When she retired, Marcella Tyler stepped in to become the strongest supporter of SAGE at Cal State Northridge. Len Reiter tells his story of the early days of Sage.
I got a letter from Sonia Marchand, and she said, I think we have something that you would be interested in and that you could be a big help. So I went over and I talked to Sonia, and she explained the concept of Sage. And I said, sounds good to me. I don't have anything to do now. By this time I had stopped working. And I was sort of intrigued. And I went through the beginning, with the 12 members, 3 of which came from Plato to help us have 12. And I was the treasurer at this point and figured out with great calculus that we needed 64 members to break even, and we had 12 or less. So we knew that was a little problem. I liked the fact that all these subjects, we didn't have all the subjects that we have today, but I had a narrow tunnel of vision. I was a businessman 45 years, and that only was expanding your ability to make a profit. And I didn't do much reading on other subjects or other things. And so in Sage, I started out taking all things that I had no idea about, that I'd never been exposed to. And on top of that, the joke was I was leading many of these programs, in spite of the fact that I knew little or nothing, but I did know how to read.
Charter member Marilyn Bart recounts the story of that first year.
The first I knew of Sage was in October 1987. There was a meeting in the Matador Credit Union building on Reseda Boulevard in Northridge, and it was the result of an ad I saw, or an announcement I saw in one of the local newspapers. And it must have mentioned a get-together of people who were interested in discussing important topics and things of that kind. So I walked down there, and the rest is history. There were a number of people who were speaking and discussed something about this group that they called Sage, and they were all from the Plato Society, as much as I remember. And I knew something about Plato, which is an organization at UCLA, but Plato is a lot older, of course, and a lot more strictly organized. They have a different kind of membership. As we discovered, we could not run things just like Plato, although we started out trying to be Plato. Plato Jr., the younger brother of Plato. I was impressed mostly with the people that I heard, that they were intelligent, they were easygoing, they were friendly, and the idea of small groups of people who would just discuss important things without exams and without any prerequisites or any kind of interference from outside organizations, or there was no need for grades or anything, exams, things like that. It sounded like something that I was badly in need of at the time.
During the last 25 years, Sage has offered hundreds of classes covering diverse areas of study like art, music, literature, science, technology, current events, theater and films, business and economics, religion, philosophy, history, geography, and law. SAGE communicates with its members in a quarterly publication called Observations. This newsletter is distributed to the members and is shared with prospective members. The organization communicates on the World Wide Web with its web publication at www.sagesocietycsun.org. Started in 2001 by SAGE member Reuben Allen, the website explains the activities of the organization as it attracts visitors from all over the world. The SAGE Board of Directors, recognizing the important role the Oviatt Library plays in providing services to students, faculty, and the community, decided in 1997 to begin offering financial support with an annual contribution for the research databases. Since 1997, SAGE has made contributions in varying amounts ranging from $4,000 to $6,400 to reach a total amount of $78,400 from 1997 through 2011. For 22 years, from 1990 until 2012, SAGE, under the leadership of Maury Cutler, offered computer classes for seniors in a computer lab at Cal State Northridge. During that time, 1,150 seniors participated in 46 classes. Participants paid a fee of $25 that contributed toward 90 scholarships awarded to CSUN computer students. SAGE has presented gerontology scholarships to worthy CSUN students each year and now offers scholarships in honor of our members who have passed away. Over the years, members have looked forward to gathering at special forum luncheons to hear speakers enlighten them on subjects of current interest. Members also attended retreats at sites outside of the Los Angeles area, where they enjoyed nature while engaging in pleasurable activities, dining together, and getting to know each other better. Over the years, one of the principal extracurricular activities of SAGE has been trips to various attractions around Southern California. Journeys have taken members as far north as Santa Barbara and as far south as San Diego. Traveling jaunts have included visits to museums, special guided walks to learn more about downtown Los Angeles, theater parties, a tour of the reopened Griffith Observatory, a day at the Ojai Music Festival, and a docent-guided tour of the Southwest Museum prior to its closure. Film buffs in the organization have organized into two groups. The Carol Hernandez Film Club agrees to view current films at local theaters and then meet on the third Monday of the month for a discussion. The group derived its name to honor Carol Hernandez, one of the devoted members who passed away. The second film group, in existence since 2008, meets on Friday mornings to screen provocative documentaries. The viewings are followed by very lively discussions. Jean Pollock Recht, president during the 25th anniversary year, tells what SAGE means to her.
Let me tell you why I think that SAGE is such a special organization. In the past, I have belonged to many organizations, most of them with a narrow focus. They might be a hiking club, they might be a charitable organization, it might be a book club, an art club. But SAGE is different. Different because we all go through different phases of life. And when we're young, we go through one phase after another and don't think anything about it. And then, whammo, retirement looms. And then we have discretionary time that we can think about, that we do think about. And one of the reasons that I think that SAGE is so special is because it encompasses such a wide variety of thought, of activity, of friends. We study the world as it is and as it has been and as maybe it will be. We intermingle with people from all walks of life with different interests. We have outside activities that might include retreats, that might include the theater, that might include visiting a museum, for example. But best of all, it allows us to interact and make friends with people we otherwise would not have known. And because we work so closely together, we intermingle and make lasting friendships. And this has been one of the particular joys of SAGE.
The Sage Society looks forward to many intellectually and socially stimulating years as its members pursue their quest for enlightenment. As the saying goes, you are never too old to learn.